Thank you. I've got lots of questions, so I'm going to ask you all to keep your answers brief, if you don't mind, please. By the way, I just want to kind of maybe take a little bit of the air out of the balloon about all this savings that we're achieving for everybody. I'll note the Biden administration recently announced a demonstration project for Medicare Part D, giving insurance companies $5 billion this year to keep premiums from increasing. So the policy that we're saying saves everybody money is having to be offset with $5 billion to keep the premiums from going up, which I find kind of an interesting sort of, wait, why are we saving money here? A quote-unquote demonstration project in an election year. Call me cynical, I apologize. Now back to my real questions. Dr. Axelson and Dr. Conti, I don't know. I'm asking you questions I don't know the answer to. It strikes me that if there is a negotiation to lower the price of a drug, as it's currently constructed, pharmacy benefit managers, Part D plans, have an incentive to carry the higher priced drug because they get a bigger rebate. We've heard that in other testimony. So unless we mandate that the lower priced drug be placed on the preferred tier, are we sure that the beneficiary will see the lower priced drug? Dr. Conti, will you go first, please? And again, be brief, please.
Thank you. In my research and in the Brookings paper, it is clear that the majority of the drugs that will be negotiated both in the first year and in the second year that we've estimated are drugs that are largely ones that patients take every single day. Many of them don't have any substitute. So first blush, my view is that we won't see very significant restraints on patients getting access to those drugs that are being negotiated.
Now, let me ask, because I think one of the major drugs being, and I'm a little rusty on what's being negotiated when, is Humira. Now, there are alternatives to Humira, and that's obviously a big margin drug. So would that be a contra to what you just said, that indeed that would be a high-priced drug which they'll be negotiated down, but if it's not, if the new price is not put on a preferred tier, the patient won't see the benefits?
That is not my understanding. My understanding is that people are already gaining access to that therapy. And again, physicians and PBMs and insurance companies will not see the benefit in switching patients from Humira to another therapeutic substitute. Another great example of drugs that are already being negotiated are drugs for heart disease. Those are drugs for which compliance with treatment over time is very important to staying well. And again, it's not in the plan's interest or the PBM's interest to switch people over.
Dr. Axelson?
Hi, I'm not a doctor. I'm Kirsten Axelson.
Ms.
Yes, thank you. The majority, 7 out of the 10 drugs, the dominant position on formulary is third-tier access. While the prices of those drugs vary widely, the cost is between $45 and $46 for all those drugs. The price is not what determines the copay at the pharmacy for those drugs. After the price controls, the price will be about $45. Seniors taking those drugs who retain preferred tier access will be paying $45 or $46 with or without a price control. What could be different is the plans may now say, well, I'm not getting the rebates on those drugs, so I'll put up a prior auth or a step edit in front of those drugs and go to a competitor and say, if you want to get in without prior auth or step edit, then I'm going to need a discount from you.
So Dr. Conti feels like there's going to be an incentive to maintain, but you're saying at least for new enrollees, and over time that makes a difference, there'd be the incentive for them to switch those patients to a different drug.
Or put up a hurdle so that they can get a discount on a competitor drug.
Okay.
May I just, there is no evidence at this point in time that formularies are switching to—
Speak a little bit more, a little louder, please.
I'm so sorry. There is no empirical evidence at this point in time that formularies are switching patients away from the products that are being negotiated towards higher rebated drugs. I'm not saying that that is not possible, but there is no empirical evidence at that time that this is happening.
Okay. Let me go to something different. Dr. Axelson, and maybe I'll come back to you as well, Dr. Conti. The separate expiration date for small molecule versus large molecule. And Dr. Conti, I think you have indicated there's no evidence that that's made a difference in investment. But my staff just gave me something, which now I can't find, of course, which shows that if you look at small molecule whose market is principally Medicare, that there is a demonstrable decrease in investment for those drugs. Whereas if it's typically going to be in the commercial market, that's where you've continued to see increased investment. Now, and intuitively, if you are near term of bringing to market, you're going to bring it to market even if they've just shortened the patent half-life or the patent life from 12 to 9. But it would make a decision in the initial investment, which there again may not be empiric evidence because it's just now. So, Dr. Axelson, we take a shot at this first, and then I'll go to Dr. Conti and then Mr. Merkel.
It's well established that the size of the financial reward is related to how much is invested in this endeavor of clinical study. It's very unlikely that most drugs get developed, that they're successful. And so there's an expectation of, the expectation of profit affects how much is invested. So yes, if there's less likelihood of financial reward, there's going to be less investment in small molecules.
Just intuitively and law of
in what
gravity.
we've seen.
Excuse me,
it's not
Dr.
true that we
Conti,
haven't
because
seen the
he's about
impact.
to gavel me down. Dr.
Okay.
Conti?
So there is not empirical evidence to support that small molecule investment is shifting out. If anything, the science is ripe for more development of those new drugs, whether they be in the ADCs or in other categories. While I agree that the IRA does shift incentives for innovation, we are not seeing significant declines in innovation, which is what had been the pre-reform concern.
Okay, I'm way over. Mr. Merkel?
I would just say that this is a classic issue with price controls and the incentives that they create, that there will be resource allocation based upon the price controls and not where necessarily there's value in the market.
Thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Chair.
I thank